that would be one way to do it. What did you think about the coaching changes? I mean, that was the big news that hit immediately after we gotten off the air. Now LSU involved in multiple coaching searches.
I think it wasn't unexpected from the people that were paying attention to anybody that was following LSU football throughout the season the last couple of weeks. You could feel the momentum building towards coaching changes on the horizon. We said on Whiskey and Wine following the Ole Miss game that I only believe that the only coaches that were safe on staff were Kevin Falk, Corey Raymond, and Mickey Joseph. I still feel like that. I still today feel. I know that there's other members on staff still. I still think that there will be shakeup on this staff before they get to spring football. I think that you're looking at a total overhaul for this staff, and I think that there's many reasons behind that. Obviously, first and foremost would be the lack of production, the lack of development in 2020. And then when you look at the future of LSU football and the stability of it, I think that there is a piece of Ed Ogeron that is coaching for the longevity of his job next season. And I think a lot of that depends on the guys around him. And from what LSU did not accomplish in 2020, it looks like they need new messengers.
Well, look, I think it's clear that this staff did not maybe handle success the best way. But if you just look at the resume, there is no one and has been no one better at dealing with adversity than Ed Ogeron. I mean, right, when you look at taking over in the two interim spots, going from the Troy loss to a national championship and New Year's Six win just in, a couple of years. Obviously sitting there at 3-5, staring down Eric Gilbert leaving, a Florida game where it looked like you had no chance of winning, and you go out there, you win that, and you beat Ole Miss. You managed to finish 5-5. You put together a really nice signing day. So LSU's already starting, or they had already begun to right the ship. And then what's something that we talked about? There was a clear problem, not just with any individuals. I mean, definitely with individuals as well, but there was a problem just overall with the LSU staff in terms of how it was made up. Mm-hmm. It was too old. There wasn't that much connection with the players. And now it looks like they are, again, that's the next piece, right? So they got the 5-5 record. They got the good sign. They made some coaching departures happen. And now the next piece is avoiding the same hiring mistakes that landed you here in the first place. And that's why I see some people on Twitter kind of saying like, oh, come on, man, I want some news. Where's the news? What's going on with the coaching search? I don't want news. Take all the time in the world that you need. Both signing days are done. Do your due diligence. Avoid just falling in love and diving into something that you maybe should not have without doing your full research. And make sure that you get it right, because you cannot miss, like Jordy said. Although there have been very positive moments over the last couple of weeks, the ship is by no means fully righted. You're not where you want to be, and these hires will ultimately determine whether or not you get back to the championship caliber team or whether it looks more like the kind of haphazard nature of this season. And so you must get these right. Take your time. I have no problem if this process starts to extend over the next month or so.
There was a piece of news that popped over the weekend outside of on-the-field coaches, but a administrative role that's being turned over within the LSU football program, and that's Sam Nader, who, if you follow LSU football, if you've been a part of LSU football, if you're like T-Bob who have played for LSU football, you know that Sam Nader does everything for the program. He does everything from booking the travel to setting up official recruiting visit weekends to game day operations, to really and truly just kind of being the godfather, the grandfather of the program and helping people throughout the day, throughout the way of being an LSU football player. It was brought to the attention and reported by Football Scoop that Nader was possibly going to retire, and that Austin Thomas was being brought back in a role that has yet to be determined on what the scope will be, but it seems like that this is a possible replacement for Nader at that position. It'll be interesting to see where Thomas fits in on the staff, as Football Scoop had it reported as well that Thomas was on the Baylor staff with Dave Aranda last season, and now will be joining Ed Ogeron's staff back at LSU. If you remember when LSU and Ed Ogeron took the job back in 2016. Austin Thomas was a major part of that. In fact, it was Derek Panamsky, Austin Thomas, and Ed Ogeron really who were spearheading the attack of trying to get Ogeron the job full time. So it'll be interesting to see where he fits in now that he's back on staff. AccuTemp brings you.
Well, hold on real quick.
Yep,
I
yep,
just want to
yep,
say
yep,
shout out Coach Nader, man, because he is he's a legend.
He does everything.
I expect that he would never retire because he's just one of those guys that gave you that feeling that he was going to work until the world ended. My man still does weighted dips in the weight room to this day with the plate on his belt like an absolute beast. Shout out Coach Nader. He's helped literal generations. I mean, decades worth of generations of young men kind of find their way through college and through becoming an adult. And I'm sorry for that time when you brought those recruits into my dorm and I was asleep on the couch and there were probably like 100 Natty Light tall boys all over the room. And I apologize for. I don't remember. I don't remember. I apologize for that. Glad that you later re-showed faith in me and allowed me to host recruits. But
oh boy.
You're the man, Coach. You're
boy.
the
oh boy.
I had to go to some classes for that. That got reported. To
AccuTemp brings you off the bench daily here. Remember, take control of
Coach
your
Nader.
comfort zone. AccuTempBR.com is where you can find them online. You can get a free estimate today by calling 926-2243, 926-2243, 225 area code. Air condition, heating, insulation, electrical, and more. AccuTemp of Baton Rouge takes on emergency HVAC and electrical service, repairs, replacements, and routine maintenance for your AC. I remember they came in and gave me the full turnover there on the air conditioned service and the heating, and it is fantastic. Online, AccuTempBR.com. All right, recruiting over the weekend. Big news. LSU had Tristan Lee at top of their board. Lee, it looked like, had been signed to Clemson throughout the entire process, which, to me, that's bad taste. I mean, for as much as these guys put the work, the effort, the time, the energy into recruiting these guys, if you're going to sign with another school, let them know.
Well, let's ask Shay. I don't know. Did they have did I hear that they had an NDA with NBC because they were supposed to be on that show, and so they had non-disclosure agreements, so they couldn't. I don't know. Maybe that's an element there. Thought I heard a whiff of that.
That would make sense.
That would make sense from a TV standpoint for sure.
I still think you got to give the communication to the coaching staff that is going over and above, and above to try and get you. You got to tell them that, look, man, the last 3 weeks you've been working, it's been for nothing.
Recruiting sucks.
I mean, for God's sake. Shay Dixon next.